Okay, I'm 10, and I'm in charge of task 3, which is fact sheets for raising students' awareness of the elderly, built on Hamera's and Crystal's tasks, which are about the homeless and also the minimum wage earners. So this time they need to focus on the elderly. And of course, the elderly in the fact sheets will be divided into 3 kinds. So which are the elderly who are the homeless, the elderly who are the minimum wage earners, and the elderly who are living alone. So students should also need to use what they have learned in the previous 2 tasks in our final task. So our final task is fact sheets. Let me show you the fact sheets, which is the task 3, the final task of task 3. So let me show you. Yes, this is the fact sheets. So the fact sheets is about the elderly, the 3 kinds of elderly, who are the homeless, minimum wage earners, and living alone. So in the fact sheet, students need to describe the living conditions of the 3 kinds of the elderly first. And after that, they need to provide the reasons why the 3 kinds of the elderly are poor. After the reasons, they need to give suggestions, but not just from single perspective. Students need to think from 3 different aspects, which are from the government policies perspective, local non-profitable organizations perspective, and also from the individual perspectives. So in order to help them to complete the fact sheet successfully, I have 2 scaffolding activities for the students, which can help them complete the task. Not only, but they can also have a better understanding of the elderly who are the homeless, minimum wage earners, and living alone. So let's talk about the scaffolding activities. Let's look at the teaching material. So I'll explain more. For the first activities, I would like to play 3 videos for the student to watch. The videos will not be very long because the attention span of students is not very long. So the videos are rather short, but with a lot of subtitles and also pictures. So, and then after they have watched the videos, or while they are watching the videos, I would like to give them a worksheets to work on. So in the worksheets, it is very clear. Students need to write the description of the living conditions of the elderly in video 1. After video 1, they need to write the description in video 2, and the same in video 3. So, but for the living conditions, which is very important, because they also need to write the description in the final task. So in order to help them, I have a number of guiding questions. Okay, help them to brainstorm, or help them to guide them what kind of information they need from the videos. And after that, they also, as you remember in the fact sheets, they also need to give reasons, right? So after the description of the living conditions of the 3 kinds of the elderly, students also need to brainstorm. Okay, brainstorm, and the reasons why the elderly are poor. So in order to help them brainstorm, I have given a few points here. Of course, they cannot just say the few points without elaboration. They need to elaborate on the few points to give more elaboration. Okay. After that, I would like to give them 2 reading tests. The reading tests are about the government's policies, which help the elderly deal with their poverty. So the first test is about the 3 kinds of the government measures, and the second test is about another measure. So students will have a few government measures, okay, in their mind. Okay, and after they have read the 2 texts, okay, they also need to have a small discussion, a mini discussion, which lasts for 10 minutes only. Okay, so okay, I decided discussion questions in a logical sense. First of all, after they have read the two texts, they need to figure out the common problem in both texts, which is the elderly poverty. And after that, they also they need to come up with the ideas, okay, about the government, what the government has done so far, because the two texts are about the government policies. So they need to select the right pieces of information about the government policies. And in the test, also the writer also evaluates the effectiveness of the measures. So they also need to talk about the effectiveness of the measure, okay. And as you remember in the fact sheets, they also need to write the measures from the perspective of local non-profit making organizations and also the public. So in the discussion, they also need to discuss the measures from these two perspectives. Okay. So this is the final task. Okay. So I've already talked about the living conditions and the reasons and also the suggestions. But as a fact sheet, also we need to have the introduction and also the conclusion. But students may not know what they should write for the introduction and the conclusion. So I have given them some guiding questions and guidelines to help them. And also they are decided in a logical sense. First of all, I'll start with the question to ask them, does the fact sheet have an introduction or a conclusion? If yes, what should they write for the introduction and conclusion? So for question 3 and question 4, okay, I have given them some information what to write in the introduction and also the conclusion. And of course, in order to make them know the text requirements, I also teach them how to write the fact sheets according to a flow. Okay, so which is very clear. So after that, okay, after they have written, as our lessons will last for 90 minutes, so they will have enough time to finish the fact sheets. After they have finished the fact sheets, I will give them an evaluation form to assess their partner's work. So the evaluation form is very detailed with a lot of rubrics. So students will need to read through the rubrics and see whether the rubrics match their partner's work. Okay, so they can give the evaluation. For the smiley face, that means the fact sheet is well written in content and language. And for this one, it is just satisfactory, not very good, not very bad, just in the middle. And for this one, that means not satisfactory. So maybe we can look at the rubrics more. In the rubrics, okay, there are four main criteria. Okay, this is for the content, and this one is for the language, and this one for organization and also the attitude. Why I include the attitude? Because the purpose of the fact sheet is to raise the students' awareness of the elderly in Hong Kong. So they also need to show their positive attitudes in their writing, which is the fact sheets. So you will see the rubrics. In students' writing, they need to show sympathy and care for the elderly. And of course, this fact sheet is not just for the student to read, but for the public. So whether the fact sheets can successfully raise people's awareness of the poor living condition of the elderly is also very important. So not just give them for the evaluation, not only just give the smiley faces, not just give the facial expressions, but also they also need to provide written comments. So they need to write a few sentences, a few lines about their partner's work. Okay, for written comments, the teacher would not expect students to write very complicated sentences, just very simple comments. Okay, and after that, they will give give their work back to their classmates and see where, and then we finish the lesson. Yes.